Best known for his trilogy of films about Senegalese women, Moussa Sene Absa's movies are rooted in the traditions he grew up with. But they're also dynamic and tonally divergent in a very modern way. It's easy to meet people who claim to love art, but Moussa's love for creation is so large, it's palpable. Moussa, hi, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Alex.
So look, you're a director, you're a painter, you're a composer, you're a documentary filmmaker, but what would you describe yourself as an artist or as a filmmaker first and foremost?
As an artist first, because filmmaking is art. And I used to say it's like if you ask if the bird is flying, but the bird is not only flying. The bird can stand, the bird can jump, the bird can run, the bird can walk. It's the same thing for me in art. When I write for films, it's the same thing when I am painting. The same energy, the same emotion. It has to do with my inner feelings. What do I want to share to the world? And I think this is the main question for me.
So if each art form still represents the same you, how do you know if it's time to pick up a paintbrush, pick up a pen, or pick up a camera?
Oh, it has to do with listening to myself first. What do I need to express? Do I need to write a line? Do I need to listen to music? Do I need to take a pen and write a line, a sentence that comes in my mind, or a scene, or a lyric of a song, or a brush? It depends on my moods. It's just like sometimes I wake up and I say to myself, okay, what do you need what would you like to share to the world? If you died now, what would be your last sentence or your last paintings or the last color for you? So it's a very existential thing and very organic also. And I used to do both sometimes. I'm writing while the painting is getting dry. I paint because I'm stuck in some scene and I don't want.
Sure,
I want to refresh my mind, so I go back to the colors and I empty my head and fulfill it with something else, so that there is no emptiness in my day.
So so there's a constant sense of creation. I mean, I guess for someone who clearly has kind of a thirst to make stuff, a lot of things to say, and it sounds like a lot of urgency about when you want to say them, filmmaking itself is quite an interesting art form because it's so slow and laborious, and it takes so long to get going.
But it's when I'm working in a film, I'm not thinking about the time. I always say that I'm not making films, but films are made inside of me. It means I'm listening to myself, and sometimes an idea came to my mind, and I know that this idea would be a beautiful film, and I start just to write. And I can write it for 1 year or 2 years. But at the meantime, I'm doing something else. I'm painting, I'm teaching because I teach a lot, and all this makes a whole thing. It's not only one thing that makes yesterday, but 2 days ago, I heard a very nice sentence from Locarno, who says that if we don't create, we destroy. And I think that this is a very nice, because we have to create to make our life sustainable. We have to create to show to the world that beauty is there, and beauty is what makes us human throughout our identity, but also throughout our humanity. Because I relate, therefore I am. I know you, Alex. I talk to you, Alex. Then I feel that I'm Moussa. I cannot be Moussa without in this context without you.
Yeah, you can't. There's no point in existing in isolation. You have to be trying to express yourself to others.
Isolation is the way to kill the whole spirit of a world. Is the way to bury yourself. When you isolate yourself, you're cutting bridges. You are not connecting to the others. And like the Ubuntu says, I relate, therefore I am. If I don't relate to anybody, then I don't exist. No matter what language I use, no matter what I'm doing, if I am not connected to the others, that I know that what I'm doing is useful and can because I used to say these things that is very important for me. Is just like it was the complaint of the narration. One day narration was crying, and everybody said, "But why are you crying?" And he says, "I'm crying because the one who is telling me is not the right one." And the other day, the narration is still crying. And the people ask him, "So why are you crying?" Because, we solved the problem last night. And he says, "You know what? The moment they tell me is not the right moment." And then the next time he continues crying. And he says, "So why are you crying again?" And he says, telling me, is it useful? Is it useful to tell me? So if the right person is not telling the right thing in the right moment, and then at the end of the day, is it useful to tell? And then what? If you tell it, does it change something? If it changes something, yes. But if it doesn't change anything and doesn't move anybody, then it is useless.
When do you think in life you first realized the power of art to connect with other people, to explain yourself more thoroughly to other people?
It's all about language, I think, because language is identity, but also language is my way to. But when I say language, it's a very general word. It means painting, writing, singing, expression. It has to do with a need of showing my existence and relating to everybody. I'm not thinking that I'm a Senegalese because the tiger has not to cry that he's a tiger. It jumps on the beast and eat it. So you don't, I don't have to tell that I am enough. No.
Sure.
What is important is what can I bring to you that moves you, that helps you to understand me better. And for me, if you understand me, then we can walk together. Then we can build a world. And by building this world, we put light in shadows, and we shed lights, and we make dots connect. And this is the main thing for me.
Well, I mean, that's a kind of interesting thing. When I'm always interested when narrative filmmakers make documentary, because obviously, as somebody who builds a reputation making making fiction or even painting or writing songs, you're making you're expressing your abstract thoughts about something real through the medium of art. But documentary is different. So I'm interested, what inspires you to tell a true story through the medium of other people living their lives as opposed to through the medium of yourself?
John Grierson says something very interesting. He says that documentary is making a documentary is that making poetry from our daily life and drama from our problems. And when I make a documentary, what I'm very interested in is what from this story I'm telling, how can I take the scales of the skin and bring life to my story, but also bring poetry through songs. I like when I make a documentary to ask the person, what is your best? What is your best song? And
that is a good trick.
The song of your childhood.
Yeah.
And generally, the people start singing, and when they sing, you see that their memory is coming back. The same thing when I say, "Oh, do you have a photo album?" and comment it for me. So I always try to get to my characters through the elements of their soul, through what they are attached to, what they love. And I always remember one of my documentary I was shooting, Blues for a Diva, and there was about this blues singer, old woman who passed away. And I surprised her by inviting her best girlfriend, who is an actress. And I asked them to sing something that they have never sung. So they improvised this beautiful
That's great.
thing. And at the end of it, they were crying. Because they couldn't, they were saying, but Moussa, you challenge us. And they just talk like this. They just talk like this. They talk just like this. Sufta muwagus kumbam joy, and the other one then and the other one just sing another one, and the other one sings another one, and it was a duet just like fantastic. At the end of it was fantastic.
Well, I mean, actually, in Madame Bruet, one of the things that I love about it is the chorus that you have following these characters around, representing their story through song and their souls. I suppose you were trying to do something similar with that.
All my films are driven by griots, because I come from a griot family. And it's my way to pay tribute to these beautiful women that raised me. I didn't know my father, so my father died. I was 3 days, so I was raised by a bunch of women who were singers. My mom and my aunts, and when I write music, it's always first I write the music before I write the script. In fact, the lyrics of the music help me to build the dramaturgy of the film. And it's like Tableau Ferraille, the same thing. Madame Bruet, the same thing. Khale, my new film, all the trilogy of these women destinies are all built in this memory of words that become songs, that become story. Songs are stories, because when there is a birth, there is a song. When they get married, there is a song. When they get into initiation, there is a song. When they die, there is a song. So songs are part of life. When they work, there is a song. They are songs of laborers. When they work in the fields, they sing special songs to give to the peasants, the strength in the heat. The sun is hit, like bang, and they sing and they sweat. And I think that these are kind of this gives to the narration another level of understanding the story, but at the same time, give some flesh. It makes the film more organic. That the music is not something that you hear, but you see the music.
No, it fills it with extra creativity, but also a sense of like love and care. I mean, the thing that I was really blown away by with Madame Bruet is the tonality, the way it feels like a film full of love and tenderness, but it's also very angry, very satirical, and very political. I wondered, was it controversial when it came out?
Of course, yeah, it was controversial, but the people dare not attack me because of what you said. It's because I wrap drama with tenderness. I wrap cries with tenderness. I wrap this very hard feeling of loss, this very hard feeling of being betrayed, this feelings that is very, very hard, and then just a lullaby, just a song, and then you forget about. No, you don't forget it, but you digest it better.
Yeah.
Because it's covered with
spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Yes, you put some honey on it, and that makes it more digest.
I love some of the production design in that film as well. And I think that there's the wonderful scene where they're putting up the cafe that they're building and they're painting it blue, and that felt to me like a little ode to the production design of the thing. And then she papers the inside of her apartment with all those magazines. Do people do that? Do people paint their wallpaper with all the magazines? Because I want to do it. It looks really cool.
You know what? In my childhood, because in my neighborhood, which is very poor neighborhood, Tableau Ferraille, all the houses were in wood. So to make that the tiny distance between the two woods, they cover it. With newspapers, with everything, and it
looks great.
This is the aesthetic of my childhood. All my the rooms are all covered by newspapers, magazines of any language that it doesn't matter what language it is. It's just like, okay, we need this to cover this.
But it's an amazing aesthetic. It leaps out so dramatically in that opening scene with a gun pointed, and there's the man dressed as the woman, and it looks so alive and loud. I thought it was super cool, like really, really amazing. So look, you're on a jury here.
Yeah.
On some level, does it feel strange to do an art competition?
I am a good public. When I look at films, I forget that I'm a filmmaker. I just want to be touched.
Yeah.
I just want to laugh. I want to cry. I want, like La Bella Strata. The other day in the Piazza Grande.
Yeah.
When this young boy, I couldn't stand it. It was so powerful. I think this is art for me. Whatever you're talking about, whatever the subject or anything that you're talking about, if you touch me, and if I look at it with the eyes of my childhood, I look at it as a little child sometimes, and I just look at it and I say, wow. And my master Jibril Diop Mambet used to tell me that art is astonishment. Cinema is astonishment. It's surprise. It's something that blows you up. It's something that has to make you feel that something strange happened to you. Maybe you don't know it at the time, but you digest it, and the film, the story has to help you to swallow it. That it become like something that is necessary for you. It's not just something that you look. If I look at a film and I don't see anything that remain in my head 2 days, I think it's a bad film. Yeah. I think every film I look, the way I judge it is to stay 2 days with the film. If in 2 days I don't feel thinking of the film, of any scene,
I mean, that is a bad sign.
So that means it's not a good film, you know.
I'm fascinated by the idea of looking at film through the eyes of yourself as a child. And if that's the way that you consume art, does that impact the way you create art?
Yeah, you know, I'm very fascinated by Miro. Johan Miro. You know, Johan Miro makes paintings that you think that it's like a little boy who is playing, but it's so profound. It's you know, and it's very difficult to get back to childhood, you know, in terms of creation. If you want to write and then you want to just be, you just want to be moved as a child.
Didn't Picasso say he spent the first 7 years of his life painting as an adult and the rest of his life trying to paint like a child?
Yes. Because when you paint like a child or when you create like a child, then it's innocence, then it's purity, then it's how you call it, candeur in French. It brings freshness. It brings something that is so simple but so beautiful at the same time. Because keep it simple. Touch me simply. Don't try to create, car race and car jumping to each other and ba 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 ba. It doesn't move me. You know, I prefer to have just a close up of a person and then one tear just getting there, and I'm done. It doesn't cost. It has no production value.
The special effect is human beings.
Yes. The human being is the base of filmmaking, I think.
Well, I think that's a very inspirational note to leave on. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.